Blake Snell makes his highly anticipated return from the injured list tonight after undergoing surgery in his elbow to remove some loose bodies there. He underwent 4 rehab appearances across Single A Ontario and Triple A Oklahoma City, most recently throwing 73 pitches. That means that Dave Roberts is going to be watching his pitch count a bit. He said that he wants to keep him within the 75 to 80 pitch range, hoping that he can go up to 5 innings because this bullpen is taxed. We're in August, we're in the dog days of the season, and this is when the Dodgers really need to dig deep, and having some veteran presence from people like Blake Snell is really going to help. Thanks, guys. I'm here in the heart of Milan, right in front of the iconic Duomo di Milano, as the city is ablaze with the energy that comes with the Winter Games. The 2026 Milano Cortina Winter Olympics is bringing together nearly 2,900 athletes, the most ever at a Winter Games, competing in 116 medal events across northern Italy. Over 90 countries will be represented, turning Milan into a worldwide meeting point between sports, culture, and history. But what fans see on TV isn't the entire story. NBC Sports is in the midst of delivering over 3,000 hours of coverage, including more than 2,500 streaming hours through Peacock. There are around 1,000 NBC staff members on the ground here in Italy, with even more working behind the scenes back in the United States, all to bring every race, routine, and medal moment to screens around the world. Plus, in true Olympic fashion, sports meets pop culture as Snoop Dogg joins NBC Sports' coverage, bringing his own personality, flair, and some of the best outfits I've ever seen. Plus, rumor has it that Snoop has a special Olympic pin that I am very much on the hunt for. So from historic landmarks like this to the beautiful mountains and arenas in Milan, Livigno, Cortina, and other Italian cities, the Olympics are more than a competition. They're a global production on the biggest stage. Syracuse Field Hockey welcomed 17 newcomers this year, 13 of which are freshmen. For most teams, that would signal a rebuild, but the Orange didn't skip a beat and still punched its ticket here to the dance. But in its pursuit to the top, number 10 SU fell to number 3 Princeton 2-1 in the second round. Still, Orange head coach Lynn Farquhar is more than proud of her team's performance.
They care about not only what they do, but who they are as people. And once that happens, then there is a special connection that hits on the pitch. If you have more time together, that's always the unknown of how much could this group have evolved. But at the end of the day, from starting in August, so much of this team was new. And to get to the Elite Eight, play hard, and like I said, most importantly, they're having fun. They've grown as people, and we're fun to watch as a hockey team.
It was a hard-fought battle, but Princeton ultimately dominated the stat sheet. More shots on goal, and more penalty corners. And the Tigers really took advantage of those additional 2 corners because both of their goals were scored off the APC. But it wasn't just dominance on offense, it was also a strong performance on defense. Princeton's press was really aggressive, forcing the Orange to play in tight quarters.
We have speed. We can move the ball, so in the last couple games, our space has really been collapsed. So yeah, you're just playing in a quarter of the hockey pitch. So it puts different kind of test. So that's what we face today. But again, it's a game of hockey. This is part of the sport that we love.
Syracuse field hockey season may be over, but its strong showing in the postseason is a positive sign for the future of Orange hockey. Reporting from Princeton, New Jersey, Sydney Chan, Citrus TV. The rating percentage index is a stats tool that adds up a team's winning percentage with their opponent's average winning percentage along with their opponent's average winning percentage. Yes, it's exactly as confusing and complicated as it sounds. And apparently, even though the Wildcats have never ranked lower than number 2 this whole season in the coaches poll, their RPI puts them at number 5 in the country, behind North Carolina, Princeton, Harvard, and Virginia. Now let's move to the top half, starting with the number 1 seed, North Carolina. UNC has been the top overall seed in the NCAA tournament for 4 straight years. The Tar Heels won their 9th straight ACC title last weekend and are out for blood against the winner of St. Joseph's and Drexel. The other matchup has Duke facing Iowa. While the Blue Devils hold the series lead, the Hawks have won the last 2 meetings. And now we finally arrived at the quadrant SU will be playing in. Like we predicted, Syracuse is at an Ivy site and faces Liberty in the first round. And you may recognize this matchup. These two teams indeed met 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament first round, where Syracuse edged Liberty 2-1 in overtime. So what makes Liberty a tough opponent? Liberty has won 3 Big East titles in the last 5 years. The Flames flaunt a strong defense anchored by freshman goalkeeper Diane St. Martin, whose goals against average ranks 5th in the nation. So what does Syracuse need to do to advance? Well, first and foremost, the Orange need to stay composed under pressure until the last whistle. During the regular season and the ACC championships, SU had chances against some top-ranked opponents, but lost notable games at the last minute or in overtime. They'll also need to stretch the field with aerials and off-ball movement to keep Liberty's defense on its heels. This goal scored by Aubrey Turner from an aerial from Bo Von Kempen is textbook. Lastly, they have to draw and convert penalty corners. Syracuse has scored 28 times this season off the APC. That's 50% of its total goals. If the Orange check all these boxes, they're in a strong position to advance. Syracuse takes on Liberty Friday at 2:30 at Princeton. Make sure to follow @Cineo_Chan on X for all your in-game updates.
Who are you most concerned about going into next season?
I mean, you said it. I'm very concerned about the defense because Syracuse is graduating its entire defensive core. Bo Von Kempen, Patty Strunk, Danique Sherman, and Lottie Knights. That group's logged a ton of minutes together and is the backbone of SU's structure. You really can't replace that experience overnight. And beyond just open defense play, those first 3 in Von Kempen, Strunk, and Sherman, they're absolutely crucial on Syracuse's attacking penalty corner unit. Besides those 2 shootout finishes, SU scored 31 of its 59 goals off the APC. That's over 52%. So one of the biggest storylines in the offseason for sure will be how quickly Syracuse can rebuild that defense and also that APC unit. Now, we're all from California here, so I feel qualified to say this. This was a little bit too California chill. It didn't feel like the East Coast energy that Syracuse really needed when facing a Princeton team that was out for blood. Like I mentioned earlier, February is a time for teams to get out the kinks, figure things out, but you can't be going into the rest of their road schedule or the rest of their schedule, frankly, in general, with the same laid-back vibe. There's a difference between laid-back and composure, and Syracuse was a little bit too lax today. Now, everybody watching this game at home, in studio, in the dome, take a deep breath because we got through it. And that's exactly what Syracuse needs to do as it continues its schedule. Take a deep breath and take everything piece by piece. In that first quarter, everything was rushed. The crowd was hyped up in a little bit of a bad way, not seeing the Orange in over a month, maybe some nervous energy going on, because in that first quarter, Syracuse really took any shot that it could. But at the same time, a lot of the shots were the same shot over and over again. Always down low, and that was how Anderson Moore was able to stop them. Once Syracuse got its head on its shoulders and really figured out how to be creative, have a lot more fluidity within its offense, its midfield, and its defense, and really work on those transitions, that's when Syracuse started to pull away. So as Syracuse enters its conference opponents, it really needs to maintain the same level of calmness because that's how they're going to go far.
14 games. A year of work, built piece by piece. All of it led to this moment. Indiana football is playing for its first national championship, and the quarterback behind it all is Fernando Mendoza, the face of a turnaround decades in the making.
So they win the most recent biggest game in school history. They've had 2 dominant wins in this playoff.
For more than a century, Indiana football was defined by what it wasn't. NBC's Dan Patrick put it best.
This is one of the great stories in college football history. Indiana was always the team that had 0. It would be Michigan 54, Indiana 0. Ohio State 44, Indiana 0. Over a century, they accomplished nothing. And then in the last 2 years, they get a transfer who becomes the Heisman Trophy winner.
That transfer didn't just change the Hoosiers' record, he changed how the program was seen.
Mendoza end zone, touchdown!
I don't think we all obviously expected a Heisman Trophy winner in year 1, but I think we all looked at both his sort of developmental arc and also Kurt Cignetti's track record with Mike Shanahan as his offensive coordinator, and we figured, Indiana's got a decent chance to kind of have, something pretty successful behind center this year.
That's Zach Osterman, an Indiana football insider for the Indy Star. This season alone, over 3,300 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, most in the country, and a 90.2 quarterback rating, best in the nation. For the Hoosiers, it wasn't about reinventing Mendoza, but rather accelerating what was already there. At Cal, Mendoza wasn't handed anything.
Fernando Mendoza, right off the bat, he was coming in to Cal as a very raw prospect, wasn't guaranteed to have any sort of starting job or really any meaningful role. He worked his way up over the years.
That's Ryan Chen, former sports director and play-by-play voice at KALX 90.7 FM, the student radio station that broadcasts Cal football. With the Golden Bears in 2024, Mendoza threw for more than 3,000 yards, completing nearly 69% of his passes, but his impact went far beyond the field.
Did see a lot of students and players rally around him. He started really becoming the face of Cal football. He had a lot of local partnerships with different restaurants around like Berkeley area.
Even after leaving Berkeley, Mendoza never left Cal behind. And when the biggest moment of his career arrived, he made sure to say so.
To my Cal family, thank you for being the first to believe in my future. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for educating me, giving me the foundation that enabled me to grow into the person I am today.
That's not kind of a fake persona that he's putting on. He is very authentic. I do have a lot of friends who had classes with Fernando and who were closer with Fernando Mendoza. And they really talked about like how genuine of a person he was that was outside of those media press conferences and post-game interviews.
In December, Mendoza became the first Hoosier in program history to receive the prestigious Heisman Trophy.
I want every kid out there who feels overlooked, underestimated to know I was you. I was that kid too. I was in your shoes. The truth is, you don't need the most stars, hype, or rankings. You just need discipline, heart, and people who believe in you. And you need to believe in your own abilities.
That belief reshaped everything that came next. And now it brings him back to a familiar opponent. Indiana faces Miami, a team Cal lost to by just a point last season. Mendoza hasn't forgotten that one.
He had referenced it earlier this year. That game sort of was very influential to him in that what went wrong in the second half. The lessons he learned in that game definitely carried over into what you've seen this year.
Mike Nizilik, who covers Indiana athletics for the Bloomington Herald-Times, notes that lessons from that game became a turning point for Mendoza.
The amount of work he puts in film study and extra reps with his receivers, you kind of see him not only throwing to his receivers, but taking advantage of their specific skill sets. Like they got a guy named Charlie Becker, and he's a former track standout in high school, a former high jump, long jumper. Every ball he throws to him is a little bit higher. Elijah Surratt has really good body control. Whenever he's in tight coverage, he still can target him because he knows he's going to get open.
And for those who watched his rise begin at Cal,
I'm very proud of Fernando. He kind of shows the best of Berkeley and his infectious personality of always being kind of happy-go-lucky. He makes an effort to actually build lasting and authentic relationships. All of that combined, I think there's no better person who could have represented Berkeley in Indiana and on the national stage of college football and potentially the NFL.
From Berkeley to Bloomington to the college football championship game, Fernando Mendoza has gone from a question to the quarterback everyone's watching. Sydney Chan, Z89 Sports.